It's in my book, it's on my blog. If you're not happy with how your money's going to be protected, don't book. And the most important thing is find out how your money's going to be protected in the first place. Not enough is talked about on these TV shows, radio programs, other than mine, obviously. And they only come up with a few tips about small print after somebody's had a problem and they want... It's like showing holiday disasters is more sexy than trying to show people how to prevent it in the first place. And that's just my opinion, and for the rest of every time my travel show is being broadcast, I will be banging on about reading the small print and about checking how your money's protected. And don't buy the cheapest insurance, buy the insurance that's going to cover you for everything you want. If you've gone and bought an off-the-peg supermarket travel insurance, you may not be covered for something like this. Do your research, do your planning. If you haven't got time to do thorough research and thorough planning, then do it the old-fashioned way and use a travel agent to do the stuff for you and ask them to highlight the pros and cons of each individual holiday they recommend. Because ultimately, you're the one who ticks or signs that you've read the terms and conditions. Ultimately, it's down to you, the problem you may find yourself in. I know the company's going bust isn't necessarily the person's fault, but they should have, ideally, I think they should have checked that they were happy with the protection offered by the Spanish authorities, and then weighed it up with what's offered by ABTA, Global Travel Counsellors and the Travel Trust Association, and make the decision, and not just look at the price of the holiday, because it could be very expensive in the long run, especially if something like Low Cost Holidays, a company like them, collapses and loads of people are left without their summer trip. If you agree with me, or if you think I'm going too far by saying that customers don't help themselves by not reading the small print, please do give me your feedback at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show.
Good morning, sir.
Hi, I'm checking in for my flight.
Lovely. Business or pleasure?
Holiday.
And where will you be staying?
With my parents, they live over there.
Lovely. Travel insurance?
Oh, no thanks.
Have you got travel insurance?
No.
Checked to see if you need any vaccinations?
No.
Checked out the local laws?
No, look, why do I need to know all this? I'm just staying with my parents.
Is either of your parents A local lawyer, or the chief of police, B, fabulously wealthy, C, the owner of a private plane with its own fully trained medical staff, or D, none of the above?
D?
Lovely. Are you a superhero and in fact immortal?
Things can go wrong on holiday abroad, even if you're staying with family. So check it out before you check in. Find out more at gov.uk/know before you go.
You're listening to The Travel Show with John Guinn on ukhealthradio.com. My guest is David Gilmour. He's on to talk about visiting Central and South America. And after all the talking I did on the last show, I felt that would be better for me, and definitely better for you as the listener, that if he introduces himself. So here's David to talk about who he is, who he represents, and then we're going to start talking about the basics of visiting Central America.
I'm a travel specialist for Latin America. Back in the 1980s, I used to lead tour groups across South America. I ran my own tour operating company for over 20 years, which I sold a few years ago, and I was one of the founders of the Latin American Travel Association in 1991 to promote Latin America. Then in 2008, I helped to set up and run the LATA Foundation as a charitable wing of the Latin American Travel Association to support social projects throughout Mexico, Central and South America. And so I've been brought in by Mercator Travel to help them as they expand their business beyond Central America, to help them with their South America Revealed brand.
So when we're talking through this, you'll be talking about Mercator Travel and the Revealed bits as well, but they're all basically the same people?
Absolutely. Mercator Travel is the parent company, two main brands, Central America Revealed and South America Revealed.
When it comes to getting to Central America from the UK, how easy is it? Are there direct flights?
Well, there are no direct flights to Central America. Thompson's has got a charter flight coming up sometime in November to Costa Rica. There are direct flights to Mexico and to some of the South American countries, but for Central America, normally the scheduled airlines would go via the United States, via Atlanta, Dallas, Miami, Houston, or New York. Iberia has got flights to certain Central American countries via Madrid, or KLM via Amsterdam. Belize is a little bit harder, and to go out to Belize, you'll always have to spend a night in the United States. Quirky reasons for that. Belize City Airport doesn't have lights. So by the time you get across to Houston, say, for the onward connection, it's too late to fly onward on the same day.
I never knew that. So, yeah, I've always fancied Belize, but I'm going to have to do America as well. Okay.
Well, I hope that at some point the Belize government or the airport authorities will put some lights down, and then you'll be able to go all the way through in one day without having to spend the night in the United States.
It's nice that there's still some quirky airports out there.
Yeah, indeed.
In general, are there any visas required for a UK visitor?
In general terms, no. If you're going through the United States, you need to get an ESTA visa waiver, which is the electronic system for travel authorization. Passengers are usually given 90 days on entry into the countries in Central and South America. Visitors to Cuba do require a tourist card and health insurance.
Talking about health insurance, are there any medical requirements? Do you need jabs or tablets or anything?
Well, we always advise passengers to make sure their inoculations are up to date, but on the whole, nothing is compulsory. Just occasionally, there might be outbreaks of yellow fever in the jungle, for example, in Peru. But if passengers have recently been to a country where yellow fever is endemic, they might be required to show proof of vaccination. So, for example, you're going up into Panama from, say, some countries in Africa where there might be yellow fever, then it will be compulsory, or they'll be required to show proof of vaccination. Malaria is an issue in South America. Depending on where they're going in the jungle and so on, then they may need malaria tablets, and certain areas of Central America, they might require malaria tablets.
I had a yellow fever jab once and I fainted. I don't know whether it's the jab or the fact I had 2 or 3 before it, and it was the combination of all those needles. But,
a little bit unlucky. To be honest, the way that vaccinations are changing, polio, for example, which is just a drop on your tongue, that now covers you for about 20 years. Yellow fever, I think, is normally 10 years that it covers you for, but we always advise passengers to check with their doctors or medical advisors.
Yeah, so mine's out of date. I do need to get it done, but I'm a little bit nervous. But I'll have to do it before I go travelling again.
Always a good idea to keep the inoculations up to date, yeah.
As a general question for the region, South America region, is it safe to visit or is it a little bit dangerous?
Well, for Central America and indeed for South America, your listeners with long memories may well regard the area as being ripe for coups, counter-coups, cocaine, civil war and mayhem. Indeed, in the 1980s and the 1990s in Central America, there were a lot of local and civil wars and difficulties in Central America. The United States even invaded Panama under General Noriega, you might recall. Today, though, that's not really so much of a problem. The drugs wars are a continuing issue in Mexico. But on the whole, for visitors to Mexico, Central and indeed South America, most of them don't experience any trouble at all. But yes, you have to take the usual precautions. One area at the moment that is of some concern is Tegucigalpa in Honduras, which is known as the murder capital of the world, sadly. And that's a place that we're currently avoiding.
You can follow me on Twitter @holiday_hut. This week, my guest is David Gilmour. We're talking about visiting Central and South America. We've done very little on it so far, just the visas and medical requirements. And now we're going to talk more about what countries make up Central America.
Well, Mexico rather likes to think of itself as being part of North America, along with the United States and Canada. They're part of the North America Free Trade Unit. The 7 countries that make up Central America are not in any particular order: Belize, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Panama.
Out of those few, which would be the best destination for somebody interested in wildlife?
Wildlife? Well, Costa Rica is home to an abundance of fantastic wildlife, with fantastic rainforests, amazing bird watching, sloths, howler monkeys, iguanas, giant butterflies, and rare frogs. Otherwise, for wildlife, really, the Galapagos Islands are particularly important, where you have wildlife literally at your fingertips, and Antarctica.
Yep, I fancy Antarctica, but because I like cold, I don't like the heat, so I have to put that on my list as well.
Well, there you go. Fantastic place. The best time is December to February, although there are trips that run from about October to April, May.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be on my list. I've got such a long list from doing all these interviews. I haven't got the time to do it. But if my numbers come up, I'll be ticking off that list like no one's business. When it comes
it's a difficult business to be in when you're talking travel all day long and all year round. Rather spoiled for choice, really.
Yeah, I used to be a travel agent. I used to get so jealous of where I was sending people, and it was just terrible.
Well, absolutely. Well, you know all about it.
Yeah. There's a lot of history in the region. Which country would be the best one for somebody who's interested in looking in ancient history?
Well, for ancient history, there are several pre-Columbian civilizations which thrived in Mexico, including the Aztecs and the Mayas, which your listeners probably know about. And then there are some, such as the Zapotecs, the Toltecs, the Olmecs, which they might not know about quite so much. The Maya civilization extended into modern-day Central America. There's a place called Hoya de Seren in El Salvador, which is regarded as the Pompeii of the Americas. The Copan Pyramid in Honduras is particularly important, with a brilliant museum attached. In Belize, they've got a place called Caracol, and the Tikal ruins in Guatemala are also quite significant and sophisticated of the later Maya period. In South America, there are a number of pre-Columbian and indeed pre-Incan civilizations, and they've clearly left their mark in buildings and artifacts and art. So plenty of ancient history.
When it comes to Panama, is it just the canal, or is there more to the country than that?
Oh, there's much more to Panama than the canal. The interior has got colonial towns and attractive mountain ranges between the Atlantic and the Pacific. There's also the Boquete coffee region. The San Blas Islands are a collection of about 350 small islands and islets off the Caribbean coast near Colón at one end of the Panama Canal. And it's also home to the indigenous Cuna Indians. The Bocas del Toro archipelago, which is on the northeastern Caribbean, is fantastic for swimming and snorkeling and diving. That said, the Panama Canal really is worth a visit. It's actually a water bridge, lifting the boats up from sea level at one set of locks, through an artificial lake which was created in the construction of the canal, and then down through locks at the other end. Quite an amazing feat of engineering. Many of our passengers will visit the locks one day and then take the train from Colón back to Panama City, and then they'll do a transit of the canal another day.
Those locks must be huge.
The maximum width, it's called Panamax, is the maximum width that you can see the boats going through. It's an extraordinary sight, literally inches on either side as they go through the Miraflores or the Gatun locks. Quite amazing.
I can't even parallel park, so there's no way I could take a ship through there. Some people just want to do fly and flop holidays, so which would be the best destination for the beaches?
Well, you are really sort of spoiled for choice in Mexico, Central and South America. Just to name a few places, then the Riviera Maya, which is going south from Cancun in Mexico. There are direct flights to Cancun, and then from Cancun going south down to Playa del Carmen, down towards Acumal, is a fantastic coastline there. The Corn Islands of Nicaragua, we just mentioned San Blas and Bocas del Toro in Panama. Otherwise, the Guanacaste coast of Costa Rica is very attractive. The Bay Islands of Honduras, or perhaps just off the coast of Venezuela, there are a number of islands called Los Roques.
I'm glad you're doing all the pronunciations, because I won't stand a chance. I really struggle, so that's great.
Years of practice, John.
Yeah.